really don't know if, people don't want me to talk about it, or they're tired of hearing about it, or whatever it is. But I can tell you one thing, being over here in this ministry, you're definitely going to hear about it. And you know the reason why you're going to hear about biblical marriage? It's because we have not heard about it enough. We've heard about everything else in life, all of our lives, so much that we've been so persuaded and indoctrinated by. But then when biblical truths come, all of a sudden we're good. We don't want to hear about it. But the truth is, just that response alone is showing that you really, truly are not good. Whether you're good or not is totally irrelevant. Listen, the Most High Yah is definitely in the restoration of all things, and he has to use somebody to restore. The problem that we're having today is that men are afraid of women, and men are afraid of society, and they are afraid of the opinions of others. Which I know myself, Pastor Dowell, I'm not afraid of none of them. None of them. I got one life to live, and I have one creator to answer to. And in that, I have to make sure that I am being just. I have to make sure that I am a man that is walking circumspectly and not as a fool and above reproach. Not only that, I don't have truths just to preach in the Bible, or truths that are convenient and just stay up on that particular vein right there because it's comfortable to everybody, for everybody to hear. No, I'm going to preach all the truths. And right now, this just so happened to be the place that we find ourselves in. And I understand. Believe me, I get it. The other day, I had Elder Robert Mathis sent me I think a video, I think it's like 55 minutes long, from Patricia Dixon. And this is a woman that's extremely educated, and she went all across the world. And she has facts and statistics in place. And of course, Elder Robert said, Pastor, this woman right here is actually saying what you have been preaching and teaching and living all this time. And there are quite a few people out there that they understand the truth of this. And many of them don't even practice it, but they just recognize this truth. I'm beginning to think that it is the litmus test to really, truly find out where your limitation of truth stops. I really, truly do. I'm actually believing that, because I haven't never come across a subject that is considered to be so offensive in a Western so-called quote-unquote monogamous society like polygyny. Now, here are facts. The whole entire continent of Africa, out of which we all come from, this is just a normal way of lifestyle. It's not only custom and tradition, it's just a lifestyle. The only place in all of the whole entire world where a man having more than one wife isn't what you call quote-unquote acceptable was Europe. That's right, Europe. Up there with the Vikings, the Celts, the English, the Wessex, the Gauls, the Germans, and all them other folks. Now, while Rome and all of them says on paper they have one wife, you go back and you research history, and this is another problem that we have today, is that people they really truly don't want the truth, to tell you the truth. They want their truth and their way of life. And so they know it's the truth, but, they'll have a wife and a mistress, a wife or a jump off, a wife or a whore, a wife, or whenever they're out of their hometown in war or something like that, they'll get another little side chick or fling, and that's all good, because, or they have a wife and a boyfriend. That's Roman culture. Look what America's doing right now, and it's all an abomination. But if I'm preaching and teaching about polygyny, everyone full well knows, and all of them full well know, when you come into my house, my family, there could be a potential or more coming in. Now, is it about, like, here's the statements that they use. Well, people are massing. They come up with all different types of ways of saying things. You want to just mass a bunch of women or something like that. First of all, number one, why do we come up against these things that's so offensive against the word of Yah? And why is it considered amassing then? It's about building. When a woman joins a man, she is there to help build his house, build his legacy, to build his empire. And the way that it is best built is through her being able to provide offspring. And if she can't provide an offspring, it's there to be a benefit to that particular home and helping to make sure that the advancement of that man's house continues to grow. Because somebody tell me what's wrong with that. I mean, this morning I woke up, and I'm going to deal with it a little bit later. There was this woman, and she's an older woman. I don't know her name right now. I have to go back and look at it. And she's, kind and stuff. And she says that Pastor Dowell says that if there's something wrong with my doctrine or something like that, please point it out. And she used my words, my image, and my video to do it. And immediately the first thing she does is goes into the bishop must be the husband of one wife. Now, believe me, those of you that are informed, we've already been over this. I can't tell you how many times we've been over this. But we have been over this. And until we blue in the face. And I'm going to have to actually cover this on one of my prime time videos, either on Let the Elect, the Hold Fast Wednesdays, Let the Elect Answer, or either on my broadcast, baby. This 6th day. I'm probably going to do it this 6th day on my broadcast, but it needs to be done again. And I'm going to go ahead and tactfully answer the older lady. And I'm going to try to make sure I stay because, I'm a man and I'm very passionate and bold about this truth. And I realize how sensitive this generation is. And so I'm going to correct her on her folly where she's assuming that I'm wrong. And I'm not wrong at all. It's just that it's her preference and assertion. And many times people do this a lot. They try to use the scripture over and over again to support their theory or their monogamy-only idea. And they will not, for 1 minute, do any research or any scholarship or historical scholarship. They don't want to know about the culture or the history of the people. They want only their truth to be told. So I'm going to go ahead and try to, let this woman know that you still don't have any problem with my theology concerning the biblical way, but it's probably a problem based on your personal preference. And when I'm not trying to live after anyone's preferences. But our sisters have got to see, and our men have got to see clearly what has gone on. We have been kept back from wealth building. I can only imagine if I started this and I had me with the understanding I had me 6 Ishas in my early 30s. Could you imagine where I'll be at right now? I'll give an example. I could have a son or 2 that could be professional HVAC guys. I could have 2 or 3 that are professional masons or block masons and brick masons. And then I could probably have a couple of more sons that could be electricians. 2 or 3 of them be truckers. Now watch this. I'm training up my sons with full knowledge of building our nation and wealth building. And then my daughters, they will be taught by my women how to be wives. Literally how to be wives, how to rear children. Because they're the first line teachers, and that generation wouldn't have no troubles in issue. I don't understand how people have troubles in issue with truth anyway. It's just nonsensical to me. But can you imagine and me managing all of this, and then I could take that money that's coming in, this wealth that's coming in, and watch this. I could end up buying 100, 200 acres of land. We already have the knowledge and know-how to build a community or a homestead. Why? Because I probably more than likely I've already done it myself, and then I can teach my sons. That's why it's important for men to invest in themselves. It doesn't do any good for you to talk about something and you can't do it. You have to be an example And that's how you get the ultimate honor and respect, is when you're an example. And then you can teach your sons, and then your sons can teach their sons. You know how many grandchildren I probably could have had by now? And we could continue on building this wealth. And then I could take the eldest son, who's in good standing, and I could use him to run this little small empire. And generation after generation after generation, it could be expanded. And then 2 or 3 generations down the road, while my name and legacy is still remembered, they could teach their children. This is your granddad. This is your great-great-granddaddy right here. He started all this for us. He used the scripture in the midst of a wicked and corrupt generation in society in a wicked country called America. And yet, him as a lion of the tribe of Judah, ordinary laws was sufficient to constrain ordinary or restrain ordinary men, but not your great-great-granddaddy. He was determined he was going to do it Yah's ways. And because of that, look at the family structure that we have. By that time, it could be well over 500 people, 500 or more Israelites keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, keeping all the wealth, bringing it all in and circulating it only in amongst our community. How many gardens, how many homesteads, how much cattle could we have ran? How much chicken, how much food and produce we could have reared and raised, and how many children could we have educated in the ways of Yah, and still expanding and developing our businesses. Man, the sky's endless, but this is what the European countries have done. They have kept us from our heritage that Jeremiah said we would discontinue from. They have kept us from prospering. Now, they have prospered through slavery. They made sure that off our backs that they got prosperity. And the slave masters was actually go and have children with the slave girls, the slave women, and use them for hands on the farm and just put them in little old shacks and have hands out there to till the fields and do all that. And they had 100% wealth. That's how this country got built, coming into them based on free labor. And of course, you know, the Europeans like eating pig. So they would eat pig, and they would eat the pig feet, they would eat the tenderloins, all that stuff, but then they would throw the chitlins to the slaves. And that's how slaves started eating chitlins. They would throw the shit to us, the intestines of all that, and it became a delicacy, and now we're sick as hell. So now, the Most High Yah is using me to wake people up. And listen, I still, right now, my thoughts are gendering towards, you know what? I'm a righteous man. I'm a man of truth. And I'm trying to determine right now how much of my seed that I want to actually leave back here on this earth before my time is up. Because I know if it's coming from my loins with the amount of knowledge and understanding that I have today, I know it will be a righteous seed, because my house, my women would train them in the way of the law, statutes, and commandments. My women would nurture my seed. And then I would teach and correct my seed. And it would be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And guess what? My daughters will be sought after. And then think about this. There's another righteous way of increasing the wealth of the family. And we're going to go back to Yah's ways by having daughters that have been reared and raised to be taught how to be wives, righteous wives. And of course, by that time, my Ishas or my children, all of them will be able to discern, because I want to teach them about, listen, if you're considering someone for marriage, don't only just look at that person, look at their family and see what type of environment that they're coming from. And if it's chaotic and toxic, I don't care how much you may desire, don't you even consider it in any way, shape, fashion, or form. That's wisdom I will pour into him. So no, I mean, as I continue to understand what y'all is doing, this is a bad road. I can only imagine. And I'm still thinking right now, how much of my seed that I want to leave behind before my time is up, because I know it will be a righteous seed, because I'm righteous. You see, again, my thoughts are way out in the future. Women thoughts, that's the reason why y'all can't have y'all leading. They're here and now. Women mostly only think about themselves, preservation of themselves, and that's got to stop. And it ain't gonna stop unless a man put his foot down. Man, you are in the image of Yah, and until you start demanding and commanding, living and acting like Yah, you can't expect too much coming from your house. And if you are meeting those conditions, you are doing that, and yet you have a woman that chooses to want to walk after the way of Americans and Gentiles, then it's probably good for you to cut losses. It's probably good for you to do that, because I'm telling you, life is not long at all. It's just simply not that long. And we need peace. We need a commandment-keeping, Yah-fearing. We need women that will be submissive, that will love their husbands, love their children, guide the house. We need confident women that know their value and know that they don't have to ever worry about envy or jealousy. This is what we need. Of course, you hear talk like that, and women say, well, that's what they're doing. See, that's his generation. Again, polygyny is actually the culture of melanated people. It's the culture of the Israelites, culture of Africans. It's the culture of the people way over in the East, the Chinese, the Japanese, all this stuff. But when everybody decided they want to be American, Europeanized, that's when they started turning around and making stuff evil and wicked. And then they even have made Yah himself wicked by going against what Scripture says. So you have to pick and choose. But I can tell you right now, anybody that I consider or believe or thinking that they have even an opportunity to come into my house, I've learned over the years how to sit down and lay down the ground rules. Because the one thing I'm not dealing with is a bunch of damn foolishness, especially after I worked my fingers literally to the bone through blood, sweat, and tears. And you all know that I have strived and labored more abundantly than they all over these years to make sure that we have this type of environment, this type of community, this type of fellowship, this type of nation to bring glory to Yah in his kingdom. Let the whole world know that his truth still stands, and yes, it reigns. And now righteous men are coming in here to do the same thing. Oh no. It's not about amassing women. It's about quality, Israelite, submissive, obedient, loving and kind and generous and wise sisters full of wisdom, being with a man of value because they have value. And it's about raising the standards of the Hebrew family home above that which this world of the likes this world has never seen. And raising righteous children. Man, it's so beautiful what I see. And I'm not going to let nobody persuade, manipulate, try to change anything that I know for sure that the Most High Yah is putting in me. I'm not. I'm going to drive hard towards this vision because I love the King. I love his program and I love his way. I love Yah's people. Hope y'all get it. What I need more is I need more conversations of righteous sisters talking about this. That's what we need. We need more conversations of righteous Israelite sisters that get this to speak about this. And you don't have to really truly be in this just to acknowledge the truth of it. Brother Pete Rambo proves that. That man has a damn good grasp of biblical culture, Hebrew culture, Israelite culture. He knows it. He knows it. One of the best teachers I've ever met. One of the best teachers I've literally have ever met, Brother Pete Rambo. I'm telling you, that man is a strong Torah teacher. He really is. Love the brother. So let's get about making environments of peace so our children are raised in healthy environments, not toxic environments. You have any challenges or anything that try to persuade you, or some spirit that comes spitting the spirit of your mind that tries to get you to oppose your head, cast them thoughts down. And let's grow in grace and let's grow in knowledge. Get about our Father's business. I love y'all. Israel, I'm getting close to this land down here that I'm actually going to see with Brother Ron and Brother Steve, looking for some land out here in the country for the Israelites. And this is country too. It's very rural. Very beautiful down there too. Extremely beautiful. It's about 3.5 hours as the crow flies away from Straitway to Hub. So we'll see what we're going to come across, okay? Somewhere along about 70 acres. It looks really nice down here too, though. I mean, you can tell they got deer and abundant wildlife. We'll see. We'll keep y'all informed, but this is what it's all about. Getting ready to move them Israelites, hopefully, out of that city. And now they can start investing the majority of all they didn't spend all this time stacking Federal Reserve notes. Now they can sit there and buy land mortgage free, and we can start getting about building Yah's kingdom. Isn't this beautiful? Good transition. I'm glad that y'all brethren are here in this ministry. Most High Yah has confirmed it with you, and y'all following me as I follow Messiah. All we're going to do is prosper and continue to keep prospering. But we have to remove every negative, every hindrance. We have to remove things from our life that's not going to gender towards the advancement of Yah's kingdom. And we got to be serious about doing it. Brothers, you cannot fear suffering loss in order to gain. You simply can't do it. Yah's with you. Shalom, King coming.